I'm Travis Wayne Goodsell. This little segment I'm putting here in the beginning of the video for you, I have uncovered live while doing this video a breaking news bombshell. So it's near the end, so you have to Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell. This video was started yesterday but turned into the real LDS Church history that they don't want even Mormons to know. That turned into an hour and 9-minute video uploaded this morning. You should watch that one first and then come back to this one, because that real video, real LDS Church history video, will help you understand why I will say things in this one. It gives you the background context. In that other video, I present in picture form evidence from church history, and I show in the video how I assemble all the evidence together rather than picking and choosing what evidence I want to believe in, and then form my own narrative from what I pick and choose. You have to take all of it into consideration, all truth evidence into consideration, not opinion evidence. There's no such thing as opinion evidence. Opinions are not truth. And so there's a big difference between reading what the church allows us to understand about church history, which is selecting key things from church history, and then the church creates their own narrative for what they want everybody to believe, and thus it creates a myth of the real history rather than presenting the real history itself. That's why investigation is crucial to be performed scientifically and thoroughly. So this is the 33 that I referred to in that other video. The 33 points. I'll read it here. Review the list below to see if you could write a book similar to the Book of Mormon under conditions comparable to those experienced by Joseph. So as I go over in the previous video, spoiler alert, you should have already stopped this video and gone to the other one first. Joseph Smith had nothing to do with the Book of Mormon, other than to distract Martin Harris and make him believe that he was helping. But Joseph Smith blew it and was banished for the rest of the publication. So, number one, you must be between 23 and 24 years of age. Sidney Rigdon was not 21 to 23 or 23 to 24 years of age. Sidney Rigdon was much older. He had access to lots of books. He hung out at print press in Pittsburgh and bought any new publications that came out, as well as purchased other books and for his library. He is known to have had an extensive library. I don't know if anybody's gone through the catalog of his books in of his library, but I think we should, now that we know that Sidney Rigdon was the author of the Book of Mormon. I think we'll find that very interesting. But when you pick and choose what you want to believe from history, this is what results, is you end up creating a scenario that's not real. And so, yeah, this video technically is null and void, but we're going to go over it with you anyway, as I'll make my comments. 2, you cannot be a college graduate. In fact, you can have only 3 years of formal schooling. See, again, they're assuming Joseph Smith translated it by the gift and power of God, called Revelation. No, it's not how it worked. Sidney Rigdon, vast library of books, well read, and because of the accident he had as a child, it was necessary for him to utilize other people's works into his. And that's why the Smiths said, hey, he's the perfect guy for this. He's well experienced in taking other books and creating new books and sermons from them. 3, whatever you write must be on the basis of what you know and not what you learn through your research. What? If he's supposedly translating, you may not know what it is they're talking about. You're just translating what they tell you. There are certain idioms in ancient cultures that don't translate well into English, for example. And so those should come out as you're going, what the hell does that mean? Take thee thine obelisk and shove it up thine nether regions? What does that mean? And so research is necessary in order to be a translator. And so I'm not sure what they're getting at here with the Book of Mormon. I guess they're assuming that Joseph Smith doesn't need to be a translator, and that's most likely what it is. But again, that's going on another branch on this dead tree that the church has created here, and that Mormons are now running with. See, all of this information that this Mormon is using to create his list of 33 points is all based on a lie, and that's a danger in science. If science were to violate the scientific process and just throw something out there in order to get published and get grants to continue their research for the rest of their life, so they don't have to actually do any work, and other people, because of the person's prominence, then branch off from there. This is the way it's being done in the church, with church history. As you have the church, who are considered the authorities on all things church, who are purposely lying, deceiving, and covering up. And Mormons are running with those lies, deceptions, and cover-ups, and branching out from them, creating more lies, deceptions, and cover-ups, creating a huge mess of the real church history. That's why it's important to go listen to the real LDS Church history video I did is because I get it all back to basics, and a whole new view comes into mind that Mormons have never, even me, never even knew to know. And so even the descriptive links, those are movie trailers to National Treasure and Da Vinci Code, but listen to them after watching that real LDS history video. You'll then realize, whoa, because these other writers of these other what became movies, they knew of the legends, but they didn't know about the real church, or church history, but American history as well, and how the Smiths played a big role in that. Alright, you must write a history, number 4, of an ancient country, such as Tibet, covering a period from 22,000 BC to 421 AD. Tibet is not in the Bible. Jerusalem is. There's a big difference. And he's not understanding this, because you don't pick and choose a country and make up their history as the Book of Mormon did as part of their code. And so this is it a non sequitur, or is it just a fallacious conclusion? But that's nonsense. 5. You must write a book with 102 chapters, 25 of them about wars, 10 about history, 21 about prophecy, 32 about doctrines, 5 about missionaries, and 9 about the mission of Christ. See, now they're trying to say, oh, you can't write your own Book of Mormon, because if you write your own Book of Mormon, it's not going to be like the Book of Mormon. It's going to be of a different place, like Tibet. And so you're not going to have the same stories. You're not going to have the same stages in the book. And so that also is ridiculous. You know, people don't have to make it about the Book of Mormon, because what they're basically saying is you have to plagiarize the Book of Mormon, and thus you prove that the Book of Mormon is true. See, because the only way you did it was by plagiarizing the Book of Mormon, which means the Book of Mormon is true. This guy is dumb. 6. You must include in your writings the history of 2 distinct and separate nations. Yeah, Solomon Spalding did that indeed, along with histories of different contemporary nations or groups of people. Yes, he did, and Solomon Spalding was not 23 to 24 years of age either. So, I mean, again, this is what happens when you believe the lie. You create a whole counter reality. And he's now using fallacy arguments to justify his fantasy land about what the church is and what the Book of Mormon is, and etc. This is why it was necessary to do the real LDS church history first. So, if you're still listening to this one and you haven't heard the history one, I warned you. 7. Your writings must describe the religious, economic, social, and political cultures and institutions of these 2 nations. Well, yeah, duh. That's called fiction writing. Even sci-fi authors know this. If you're going to create a space culture, you have to include all that. The Jedi Order versus the Sith Order. And saying that everybody knows this. It's not unique to the Book of Mormon. 8. You must weave into your history the religion of Jesus Christ, which is an anachronism. You can't put Jesus Christ in there as the deity. It's not the right God. And the pattern for Christian living. No, it's not a Christian book. It says in the Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi, chapter 1, verse 2, the learning of the Jews. The Jews don't believe in Jesus Christ. He failed. He doesn't get to come back a second time and do a do-over. Oh, I failed in the Roman period, but now under Trump, I'm going to do it. No. That's why it's an anachronism. And this guy just pulled it. When you 9. When you start to produce this record covering a period of over 2,600 years, you must finish in approximately 8 days. No, it was longer than 8 days. Oh, 80 days. Huh. Yeah, it was about 3 months. So that's 60 days, so 80 days. So it was almost 4 months. Yeah, no. Again, the manner in which it was written was not by revelation from Almighty God through rocks. It was not through translation. It was from actual English documents that they just retransposed and refigured into the narrative that they wanted to get out in a certain coded message. But again, you can't force restrictions like this, because he's assuming that Joseph Smith did actually do what the church claims he did, and so he's now creating a superhuman feat, whereas the real story tells us, oh yeah, it was first with William Morgan's manuscript, but Joseph Smith blew it. So Daddy kicked him out of the group, and they utilized a book, manuscript that wasn't published, the Solomon Spalding manuscript, that Sidney Rigdon said he had in his possession, and most likely nobody knew of it because it wasn't published, and authors typically write alone, don't share their stuff, and but no, Solomon Spalding read his books to the tavern town at the tavern, and they all knew it, and so Mormonism Unveiled exposes that Smiths were not as careful as they thought they were. But a completely different history when you understand the source truth, not branching out from a lie. Must be Christian with the Trinity God. One God, one faith. Oh God. Yeah, see, Christians would have trouble writing a book of religion in the ancient world before Constantine, because they just couldn't do it. They'd have to influence the ancient history with Constantine Trinity. they just aren't capable of saying, you know what? Constantine started it, so anything before him was not Trinity. And so they'd have to call it all heathen, which they do. But, yeah. And so this Mormon is pulling the same stunt. And the church, the current church, did not become Christian until 1923, when they reissued the Articles of Incorporation. Just in case you were wondering, the United States shut down Brigham Young and his religion of Lucifer, and so the church said, okay, well, we're not allowed to have that one as our religion, and we have no clue and have no interest in Joseph's original religion. So let's be Christian. Hey, these fundamentalists are getting pretty popular. Let's pick theirs, be conservative, and betray America that way. Alright. 10. When you have finished, you must not make any changes in the text. The first edition must stand forever. This does not include grammatical errors, etc. Does this guy not understand that Brigham Young had tried to get, well, he actually did get published a second editing of the Book of Mormon? Joseph Smith eventually saw it, read it, and said, what are you doing? Put it back to the first edition. So it was put back to the first edition, and then Joseph Smith assassinated. Brigham Young, what does he do? Puts back his second edition as the main one. And the church has since made alterations from even that one, taking out pure and white people, for example, not understanding that it's code, making mockery of white supremacy back in those days. It had nothing to do with being racist. It was a mockery to white supremacists. White supremacists think that the whites are the master race. And so when you're talking about Lamanites turning black, that's supposed to prick the hearts of white supremacists, saying, oh crap, these guys were white and they were wicked just because they thought that they had authority to run the tribe. It's supposed to prick their conscience and say, oh, I guess I better be good. I enjoyed the Croods. I watched that the other day, or last week, I guess, or this past week. And the father would have a story time whenever he wanted to get an agenda message to the kids. And it was typically about how the daughter needed to conform and comply. And so he'd talk about how there was this family and they stayed in a cave and they were safe, but then one rebellious daughter went out of the cave and she died. And the son is going, oh wow, I'm never going to leave the cave. That's what happens when you rewrite history, when you don't allow the truth to tell the history, that you create the history, which is what the church is doing. And they're specifically doing that to do exactly what that father on the Croods did. I thought it was the new one that was being released. Turns out that there was one that I had missed before. You still have to pay to watch the one currently. Alright. So yeah, the Book of Mormon has been changed from the first editing. Sorry, guy. You apparently don't know your Book of Mormon very well. 11. After pauses for sleep and food. If you are dictating to a stenographer, you must never ask to have the last paragraph or last sentence read back to you. You must start right where you stopped previously. Well, yeah, it's easy to do when you've got the papers right in front of you and you're just reading it to Martin Harris. Okay, we finished what we were given from Oliver Cowdery, from what Sidney Rigdon had dictated to him. So now we're going to... See, he does not understand the real history, and so he thinks it's some magical, mystical thing. Wow, the church is true because of magic. Magic. That's Ghostbusters. And then Xanadu has magic as well. We'll see about putting those as the theme songs. You can do magic. Dun, dun, dun. There's another one. Alright. Where are we? 12. Your history or record must be long. Approximately 777 pages, with over 500 words per page. See, he's trying to force people to think that plagiarizing the Book of Mormon is the only way that the Book of Mormon could have been written. And therefore, no. All books are different. Even authors who do series of different cultures, do branch-off series. There are some who do that. Each of them are different in their own unique way. This guy is clueless on the process of being an author. 13. You must add 180 proper nouns to the English language. You mean from Charles Anthon's republishing of an ancient and classical dictionary of names? There were well more than 180, and they didn't use all of them. 14. You must announce that your smooth narrative is not fiction, but true. Yes, a sacred history. Well, of course they had to announce it as true. That was the cover. But it is, in fact, fiction guised as a coded warning message. Because if they came out and said, hey, this Illuminati has infiltrated the Scottish Rites and they're going to take over America, they failed in the War of 1812, and so they're coming back in 2017 by putting Trump on the throne of America. Yeah, do you think they'd survive? No, they'd be murdered. And so they had to encode it. 15. In fact, your narrative must fulfill the biblical prophecies of Tibet, even in the exact manner in which it shall come forth, to whom given, and its purpose and accomplishments. Yeah, isn't it amazing that the Book of Mormon fulfills biblical prophecies? I mean, truly, it's a true history of the indigenous people, because it plagiarizes the Bible and says that it fulfills the Bible prophecies. Brilliant! 16. You must publish it to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people, declaring it to be the Word of God. Yeah, the sealed portion guy, Christopher, he did that too. Until he finally got enough people so that he came out and said, no, I just wrote this. I wanted to fool and punk Mormons. You must make money off of this with the publication rights. And get thousands of likes and subscribes. Otherwise, you're not true. See, Travis? You're not true. $17. You must include with the record itself this marvelous promise. Oh, it must have a promise. See, here is where he's twisting the doctrine presented here. It's Moroni 10, should be 4. Yeah, he just put 4, he didn't put 5. I'm not seeing the word manifest. Did you not properly quote this? Ask God in the eternal Father in the name of Christ of these and gospel since our he'll manifest. Manifest, there it is. Is that John? Yeah, and so he just he doesn't get into explaining it, he just says a marvelous promise. We all know, Mormons, that you think that this means read, ponder, pray, you have a feeling, it has to be a good feeling, otherwise it's the wrong feeling. Therefore you now know all things. You know that's what you believe. You know. Don't try whining and complaining to me that I'm exposing this as false. The word manifest is with the 5 senses. It is not the 6th sense. You don't have a manifestation of spiritual feelings. 18. Tens of thousands must bear record. No. You have to bear true testimony. You can't bear false witness, guys, to the world for the next 178 years. Well, that gives you the date of when he wrote this. That they know the record to be true, because they put the promise to the test. The truth is manifested to them by the power of the Holy Ghost. Yeah, see, he doesn't understand the definition of manifested. 19. Thousands of great men, intellectual giants, and scholars must subscribe and like. To the record of its movement. Must subscribe discipleship to the record of its movement, even to the point of laying down their lives. And how many thousands have there been? Great men, intellectual giants, and scholars? Who? I'm sure you're not talking about Mormons who are just doing self-fulfilling prophecies because of their bias, right? You're not talking about those? 20. But notice, this movement to destroy America, they are saying we are going to lay down our lives to overthrow America. This is what this guy has put in there. You can see he's got the same type of thinking as the seditionist insurrectionists. He is willing to die for the false narrative of the church. And that is dangerous. This is why Mormons are dangerous. The church is a terrorist organization. They are dangerous. And there you see it, right there in 19. 20. There can be no flaw, whatever, in the entire book, except in grammar and manner of speech, because of other scholars whose books were used in the writing of the Book of Mormon, or other errors of man in transcribing, etc. No, guys. No. Joseph Smith read from a text. There was a veil placed between him and Martin Harris, and so Martin Harris had no clue. He thought he was actually transcribing for Joseph. Oh, that's his TV. Okay. Alright. 21. Your descriptions of the cultures in these civilizations, of which you will write about, is not known when you publish your manuscript. If you're not familiar with Solomon Spalding, he purposely went to the area in western New York where there were the ancient burial sites and mounds of the ancient civilization that had long since been abandoned. And he went around, got the geography of that area, put it into his book, and the names of the different places that were current and modern he put into his book, and created a fiction narrative of who they were and where they came from. That's what fiction authors do. And in so doing, his book most likely would have explained that Western New York was what he was referring to and giving the story of those people. But that would have helped sell lots of books if he did that, and if he were able to get the money to publish, but he didn't. 22. Yet, you must not make any absurd, impossible, or contradictory statements. Oops! We built our temple after the manner of Solomon's temple, without the finery of gold and silver, because they were not so plentiful in this area. Skip a few verses. And there was gold and silver in great abundance. Are you sure you must not make? It's code. When it's code, yes, you have contradictions. That's how you identify that there's a code in progress. 23. Even so, many of the facts, ideas, and statements given as true in your record must be entirely inconsistent. Inconsistent with, even the direct opposite of, the prevailing belief of the world. Your book must be a lie. It can't have a single shred of truth in it. It must be completely in non-reality. This guy is dumb. Oh my God. Yet very little is even claimed to be known about these civilizations and their thousands of years of history. That's why you do archaeology. Science. That's why you do linguistics and all of that. 24. My hell. Who was this guy? I should have gotten the name of the guy or looked for the name of the guy who did this crap. 24. You must invite the ablest scholars and experts to examine the text with care. No, not your translation, the original document. The golden plates. We never said they were gold, because we've corrected the record. They were copper. No, that's what scholars are complaining about. There is no plates. Where are they? Show them to us. It's kind of brilliant in a way, because the Book of Mormon plates are the print press plates. We do have those, I think, but we could have access to those. But that's the Book of Mormon. See, it says the Book of Mormon. It's the translation. It's the plates. They're in English. It's supposed to be in Egyptian. Let's see. You must strive diligently to see that your book gets into the hands of all those eager to prove it a forgery. Really? Okay, I have it. I read, pondered, prayed, but then used science to replicate and couldn't replicate. Found something else instead. And that's the big difference, guys. And who are most competent to expose any flaws in it? Well, yeah, there's a guy who came up with a computer program, ran the computer program, and found Sidney Rigdon's the author. Confirmed it with the linguistic study that had already been done as well. Yeah, they've exposed the flaws. Apparently this guy is refusing to accept that there are flaws and plagiarisms and all this stuff, because it destroys his belief system. He has written these 33 things to defend the church, and they must be true. The book must also have these 33 points to establish its truth. So there's number 34. 25. After 178 years of extensive analysis, no claim or fact in the book is disproven? What planet are you on? But all are vindicated? No, nothing's been vindicated. Not a single thing has been vindicated in the Book of Mormon, other than there was a Jerusalem. But nothing here in America has been vindicated. Other theories and ideas as to its origin rise and fall, leaving your claims as the only ones possible. Oh my God, how does this guy live? But that's what I talked about the other day, is that Mormons go to their work where they have to use logic and science, but then when it comes to church and religion, all of a sudden all that knowledge and education, nope, not going to use it. For religion, I'm living in fantasy land. My God loves me. I tell lies and call it truth. That's exactly what's going on. I mean, right there, the guy just tells it. See, he's still also not catching on to the process of science. If your book is legitimate, you don't need to worry about giving it to scholars for peer approval. You found the plates, you translated them, here you go, this is what I found. And you don't need to worry about whether scholars say, oh, this is a fraud, oh, this is blah blah blah, because you did find plates. You can even show them the plates and say, here's the plates I found, and here's the translation I made from it, and scholars can look at that and go, wow, yeah, what do you know? I'm still wondering if this might be a forgery or an anachronism, but it doesn't matter. You are confirmed as having found plates, you translated them, you produced the resulting publication. Even if the plates are found to be fraudulent themselves, you've still confirmed that you have found them, you have translated them, and published them. And then you leave it up to scholars and others, even yourself, to examine whether the plates are frauds or have errors or anachronisms and whatever. And so, yeah, this guy is clueless on that concept. Where are we? Through investigation. Yeah, it's 26. Through investigation, scientific evidence, and archaeological discoveries for the next 178 years, must verify your claims. They don't. and prove they don't even the minutest details of your history to be perfectly true. Yeah, it's well known the Book of Mormon is not historically true. That is a fact. Mormons have to accept it. They cannot continue to live the lie. They can't get angry at people for saying, no, science says it's not. Sorry, you're wrong. Move on. Admit it. Confess to people. Don't go bearing false witness. You know, that's a Bible sin from the Ten Commandments, remember? Abinadi plagiarized them. And it's interesting, Abinadi put in the Sabbath day also. These guys are from the pre-Babylonian captivity Israelites. They did not practice a Sabbath day observance. This was Babylon who originated a seventh-day observance, because number 7 was a bad luck number for the Babylonians, and so they designed their calendars to have 7 days in a week. Oh, the creation story has 7 days in the first week. I wonder if there's a coincidence. Yes! It's called an anachronism for a reason. And so, yeah, there's not supposed to be any contradictions. But oops. And so Abinadi is not supposed to be saying that the Ten Commandments said that thou shalt not take the Sabbath day in vain, or whatever it's called. Keep the Sabbath day holy. It didn't exist. And it should not have been carried over into the Book of Mormon. And so you can see there's something else going on here. But if you're going to live in La La Land, you're going to create something like this and brainwash a whole ton of Mormons to read it in elders quorum. 27. Internal and external prophecies must be confirmed and fulfilled in the next 178 years. Really? What about now? We're after 178 years. In fact, the internal prophecy of the signs that in the heaven that Lehi sees in 1 Nephi chapter 1, yeah, he's merging 2017 and 2024 together into one experience there. He sees the heavens opened, and he sees the sign of the Son of Man, 23rd September 2017, and then he sees the anthropomorphizing of the Son of Man coming from out of heaven to him, giving him a book. That's the sign from Revelation 19. So you have Revelation 12, Revelation 19, in the Book of Mormon, coded as Lehi's dream. And he's then given a book that Jerusalem is going to be destroyed, with the dates of 2017 and 2024. And he's getting a book, Jerusalem's going to be destroyed. Are we sure it's Jerusalem? Yeah, we're witnessing right now what the Book of Mormon was warning us about. But you got to have watched the first video first. So if you think you're being clever by sticking to this one and not going to the other one. Alrighty, 28. 3 honest, accreditable witnesses, not family related for nepotism, must testify to the whole world that an angel from heaven appeared to them and showed them the ancient records from which you claim your record was translated. Those 3 Oliver Cowdery, David Whitmer, and Martin Harris. Yeah, I'm sure Martin Harris saw the angel, didn't he? Okay, where's the witnesses? Explanatory testimony of the 12 to the Doctrine and Covenants. Is it in the beginning of the Book of Mormon? Am I looking in the wrong place? Okay. Introduction, testimony of 3. Yep. Oliver Cowdery, David Whitmer, Martin Harris. Sure enough. See, Oliver Cowdery is cousin, I don't know, second or third, twice, thrice removed or whatever. The Cowderys and the Macs are from the same descent ancestry. And they associated with each other in Vermont with the New Israelites, which I talked about in the previous video, in the other video. And so David Whitmer, he's got a haughty sister, of which Oliver Cowdery eventually married. So, yeah, you want to impress the girl by saying that there's a work going on, a marvelous work and a wonder, and I want your brother to be a part of this. And Martin Harris, yeah, he had no clue about any of this. I don't even think they even knew that they were signing on to this. Wouldn't that be interesting? I wonder. Let's do, I'm at 50 minutes. Let's find out as quick as I can possibly can. Book of Mormon. Joseph Smith Papers. View entire transcript. Printed by E.B. Grandin for the author. Copyright page. Be it remembered. Clerk of the Northern District of New York. Richard R. Lansing. Preface. Many false reports. Measures. Cause to be written. 100. Which I took from the Book of Lehi. An account of splits. No. They did not put the testimony of the witnesses in the 1830 edition. They went right into 1 Nephi. There you go. Just as I suspected. Yeah, Martin Harris and David Whitmer were just added as witnesses. So the Doctrine and Covenants would then be the first place that talks about it, isn't it? They don't have references for this. So, let's see. David Whitmer, witness. 0? There's only 3 for him. Okay, 18. And now, Oliver Cowdery, I speak unto you, and also unto David Whitmer by way of commandment. Repent. Is the witness statements the only evidence that they were witnesses? Okay, here we have in section 18. Wherefore you can testify that you have heard my voice and know my words. When you, Oliver Cowdery and David Whitmer, search out the 12 desires of which I have spoken. Now that's deceiving, because they were a part of the first original High Council 12, not the 12 apostle missionaries. That's interesting. But yeah, wow. Oh my God, we are breaking news right here, right now. See, every video I do has a bombshell in it. Even for me on this one. The witness statements were not written and put into the original books. That's how they got away with it. They came back later and put them in. Oh my God. I looked at the 1830 version, Joseph Smith papers, went through, they had the official copyright and the editor notes, and then boom, First Nephi. See, in our Book of Mormon, the witness of testimony of the 3, testimony of the 8, and lists the name. No. I can't find it in the Doctrine and Covenants either. No. And so, the reason why David Whitmer never denied his testimony is because he never gave it. That's the bombshell! Oh my God! That is awesome! Oh my God! See, I only got to a fuller in research to 1829, and so I didn't get to the part about witnesses and the first establishment with angels giving priesthood keys and such. I didn't get to that part. I had just finished Martin Harris Destroys It and such. And Joseph Smith has to leave Harmony, goes to Susquehanna Harmony. So, wow. Awesome. Oh my God. I'm going to have to do a little video segment to put in the beginning of this video so that you guys will last this long. Oh my God. Oh, that is awesome. Okay. 29. We're getting near the end here. You must hear out of heaven the voice of the Redeemer declaring to you and those 3 witnesses. Never happened. Oh my God, the testimonies are a fake. That is awesome. That is awesome. And so they would be in the Joseph Smith history of 1838. That's when he put them in. That was after David Whitmer and Oliver Cowdery left. That is awesome. That was brilliant. That was awesome. Oh my God. And here we have 38 other witnesses. No. Oh, but it's all family anyway. You got brothers and daddy. Oh man, that is awesome. And so yeah, the family, oh yeah, we touched them, we saw them, yeah, it's real. Our daddy said so. 30. Oh man, oh, you guys were awesome. If you hadn't have used the Solomon Spalding book, that the people in that township knew who the author was, oh, they may have gotten away with this and saved their lives, not get assassinated and infiltrated. Oh man. The Smiths rock. $31. The first 3 and the second 8 witnesses must bear their testimony, not for profit and gain, but out of ignorance, because they never said it, under great personal sacrifice and severe persecution, even to their deaths. I will die for this lie. See, again, he's focusing on this. Oliver Cowdery and David Whitmer didn't die for their testimony. They lived on. But this guy wants to emphasize, I'm going to die for this lie of the church. This guy is dangerous. He's a terrorist-minded individual. He needs to be stopped. He was probably one of them that were at the Capitol storming it. Have fun storming the Capitol, boys. Thanks, Mad Max. Billy Crystal? Mad Max? 32. You must talk a friend into financing your book. You must. Because we don't have Amazon Kindle publishing where you can do it for free. And so it has to be a friend. It can't be the publisher that was a part of the William Morgan scandal. With the understanding that here you will never receive any monetary remuneration from it. Hey, give us your money. We're not going to make any profit off of your investment. This person must mortgage his farm to have it printed. You must sell the book at cost or less. Yes, the Book of Mormon is true because of this other stuff. Oh my God! Oh man, this is awesome. There were no witnesses. They were just made up. 33. Finally, after suffering persecution and revilement for 24 years in the process of producing and defending this book, you must give willingly. No, they infiltrated the church, you dumbass. Your own life for your testimony that the record is of God. Oh, dear God. So you see, kids, don't do drugs. Don't be a terrorist for the church. Oh, man. Alrighty, so I'll try to do the little clip. I'm probably still going to be laughing.